Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is I, Jolting Joe, coming to you from my back porch on Tuesday, March the 21st. And what are you drinking? What are you smoking? And I showed these to you last week. This is the regular one, though. This is from leftover St. Patty's Day, the Filthy Hooligan from Alec Bradley. This is the basic one with only the 2 wrappers instead of the 3. That's what I'm smoking on. And I got one more Pumpkinator from this year left. So we'll go ahead and crack that one open. Alright, if I can. There she is. Alright, and. Oh, no, it doesn't say anything. Well, that's disappointing. Okay. Alright, and once again, this 2022 Pumpkinator. Pumpkinator glass. Pumpkinator glass. Alright. And liquid gold, baby. Look at that. Pouring. That is a thing of beauty. Ooh, there we go. Cheers, everybody. Absolutely delicious. Alright, and I got the cooler on the back porch today because it's a little warm. It's not too bad. It's actually great temperature-wise, about 75 right now. It's amazing. Alright. Alright, here's the deal. This is what I'm going to do today. Talk about 2 things. One, we're going to talk about March Madness. 2, we are going to talk about the World Baseball Classic. Alright, that's basically what we got on the agenda for today. Alright, and then if we have time for anything else, we'll get into other things as well. Alright, but hopefully everybody was watching the tournament. Good old March Madness. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to Thursday. Now I'll tell you, some of you may know this, some of you may not know this, but during the first weekend of the tournament, the round of 64 and the round of 32, so that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that is when the number of vasectomies actually increase, because guys that want to get a vasectomy, they do it during March Madness because obviously you're down for a few days, and so what do? You get a vasectomy on Wednesday, and then you watch the tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you have pretty much all day basketball all day long, because if with the round of 64, I mean, you're getting 32 games. You're getting 16 on Thursday. You're getting 16 on Friday. They start at 8, 10 o'clock in the morning, something ridiculous like that, and then you just watch all freaking day. All right, and so if you're a guy out there and you're wanting to get a vasectomy, wait till next year and do it and then get it on Wednesday, and then just watch the tournament all fucking weekend long. All right, so I got to see quite a few of the games. I didn't see all the games, obviously. A little hard to do that, but let's start with the round of 64. My UT Longhorns defeated Colgate 81-61. And then I had West Virginia in this game, but Maryland ended up beating West Virginia. That was an 8 over a 9, 67-65. One big upset of the day was Furman over Virginia, 68-67. If you didn't see how that went in, now Furman was a 13 seed, Virginia was a 4 seed. Now remember, Virginia was the very first number 1 seed to lose to a number 16 seed. I want to say, what was that? 2019, I think, because there was no tournament in 2020. All right, no, it was 2018. It must have been 2018. I think it was before. Yeah, I think it was in 2018 they got bounced, and they come right back next year and win the championship in 2019, because there was no tournament in 2020. Baylor won it in 2021 because they wanted me money, and then Kansas won it last year. That's right. Okay. But so Virginia's notorious for getting bounced, and this one was kind of crazy because Virginia was actually up in this game by 2 points. They inbound the ball at the baseline, and at their own end of the floor, they inbound, and then Furman does a 2-man trap, and the guy just throws up a prayer, basically, and the ball got picked off by Furman, and then he just spots up from three. Boom, drains it, and Furman goes up 68-67. That's how the game ends, because there's only like 4 seconds left when Virginia did that. But yeah, he just and I feel bad for that kid, man. But he just threw it up for grabs. I mean, he looked, looked like an NFL quarterback, just being, like, well, let me see if anybody down there, if anybody's down there. It's kind of like, Pat Mahomes or somebody just being like, Tyreek's down there somewhere, or whoever, just somebody's down there. Derek Carr throwing one up. I got fucking Devontae down there somewhere, and that's what it, and he just kind of threw it up, and man, Furman just picked it off. Boom, boom, three ball, boom, that was it. So Furman ends up beating Virginia. And then Missouri took care of Utah State 76-65. Number one Kansas defeated Howard 96-68. Number one Alabama defeated Texas A&M Corpus Christi 96-75. San Diego State, the number 5 seed, took care of number 12 Charleston 63-57. Princeton, big upset. Princeton takes down number 2 Arizona 59-55. Big upset there by Arizona. Trying to keep this thing going. Sorry, guys. But yeah, Princeton, number 15 seed, takes down a 2 seed. So in that one, so that was a huge upset. Then Arkansas takes care of Illinois 73-63. Auburn took care of Iowa 83-75. That was a 9-8. That's right. I don't consider that an upset. Duke took care of Oral Roberts 74-51. Northwestern defeated Boise State 75-67. Number 1 U of H took care of Northern Kentucky 63-52. Tennessee beat Louisiana 58-55. UCLA defeated UNC Asheville 86-53. And then Penn State upsets the Texas A&M Aggies 76-59. I know all the Aggie fans out there wanted to see UT and A&M in the second round, but UT goes through, A&M does not. Aggie's going to Aggie, brother. So I think they were just looking ahead to that game, and then we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna play UT, we're gonna beat UT, and then and then Penn State upset you. So there you go. All right, so that was the first round of action. So a couple big upsets in the first round of action there on Thursday. Then on Friday, still the round of 64. Now I had Michigan State upsetting, well, not upsetting, but I had Michigan State. They beat USC 72-62. Xavier took care of Kennesaw State 72-67. Xavier didn't look all that great doing it, but they did win. Baylor took care of UCSB 74-56. St. Mary's took care of VCU 63-51. Marquette took care of Vermont 78-61. And then number 11 Pitt upsets number 6 Iowa State 59-41. Creighton beats NC State 72-63. UConn, number 4 seed, took on Iona. They beat them 87-63. And then the biggest upset of the tournament thus far, FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson, defeats the 16 seed, defeats Purdue 63-58. If you bet Fairleigh Dickinson, congratulations, they were plus 2,100. So if you threw 100 down, you won $2,100. It paid 21 to 1. So for every dollar you spent, you won 21 bucks. So even if you threw a $10 bet down, you still won $210 on a $10 bet. So if you had Fairleigh Dickinson, congratulations to you, because Jesus Christ on that one. I was rooting for it too, man. Here's the thing about Purdue. Purdue lost to, in 2019, because no tournament in 2020. So, no, this goes with 2021. 2021, they lost to a 13 seed. Last year, they lost to a 15 seed. This year, they lost to a 16 seed. Next year, I guess they'll lose to a 14 seed. But and also, too, Purdue was the first team in history to lose to a 16 seed and a 15 seed, and they did it in back-to-back years. Go Boilermakers. So, if you're a Purdue fan, man, I just don't know what to what to tell you, man. I just don't know what to tell you. But things were not good for Purdue there. Kentucky defeated Providence 61-53. Gonzaga took care of Grand Canyon 82-70. Miami took care of Drake 63-56. And then Florida Atlantic took care of Memphis. It's a 9/8, not really an upset. They took care of them 66-65. Kansas State defeated Montana State 77-65. And then TCU narrowly beat Arizona State 72-70. And then Indiana took care of Kent State 71-60. So, Purdue going out, Arizona going out, busted a lot of brackets. But fortunately for me, I didn't have them going too terribly far. I didn't have either team in the Final Four, so hey, looking good. So we can move to the round of 32 on Saturday. My Longhorns once again take care of business against Penn State. Actually look pretty good doing it. They win 71-66. San Diego State defeated Furman 75-52. Tennessee took care of Duke 65-62. Maybe Rick Barnes actually has maybe Rick Barnes ain't going to Rick Barnes this year. We'll see what happens. But Tennessee moves on to the Sweet 16. Arkansas defeats Kansas in a wild game, a back and forth game, one of the better games of the weekend. Arkansas defeats Kansas 72-71, and so number 1 Kansas is out. Number 1 Purdue out. So 2 number 1 seeds already out. They don't even make the Sweet 16. All right. Princeton, big upset of Missouri, and they ran through Missouri 78-63. Princeton with another upset. They beat Arizona. They beat Missouri, and Princeton's on to the Sweet 16. All right. Number 1 U of H looked like absolute shit in the first half against Auburn. They were down by 10 at halftime. U of H was to Auburn, and then UH came down and they just put the hammer down on defense. There went my ash. They probably should have asked that in the ashtray, but U of H came out and just put a defensive clinic on in the second half, and it just started scoring too. Offense came alive. Sasser came alive. And a buddy of mine, Scott Sosby, who has been on the show before, I was taking messages to him, and he was like, "Man, it looks like UH's might be going out of here." And I was like, "It's like Kelvin's going to get him straightened out in halftime." I was like, "It'll be all right." Sure enough, boy. I don't know what Kelvin Sampson said at halftime, but whatever he said fucking worked. And boy, howdy, the U of H put on a fucking clinic in that game. And number 1 UH goes to the Sweet 16. They beat Auburn 81-64 in that one. And then UCLA takes care of Northwestern 68-63 in that one. Number 1 Maryland defeated number 1 Bama defeated Maryland 73-51 to move on to the Sweet 16. And then the Sunday games, final day of the round of 32. Xavier looked a lot better against Pitt. Xavier took them out 84-73. Then Kansas State defeated Kentucky 75-69. And then Michigan State. That was the game I should have bet. I had Michigan State going. I've got Michigan State going deep. Tom Izzo always does me a solid, man. Like Tom Izzo, he just knows how to coach in the fucking tournament. That's all there is to it. It's the only Big Ten school worth a damn, in my opinion, is Michigan State, because Izzo just gets those guys to play. He just knows how to coach in the tournament. He's been around for fucking ever. He's got national championships. They usually make a deep run. So I had Michigan going. Hell, I think in one bracket I got Michigan State going to the fucking Final Four. Now whether or not they're going to get that far, I don't know. But I had them making a run. They do defeat number 2 Marquette 69-60 in that one. UConn took care of St. Mary's 70-55. Creighton upsets Baylor. Number 6 Creighton defeats number 3 Baylor 85-76. Baylor looked like shit in that game, by the way. And then the clock struck midnight for Fairleigh Dickinson. FAU, Florida Atlantic, takes them out 78-70. And then Miami took out Indiana. Small upset. It's a 5/4. Not much of an upset. 85-69. Miami just throttled them, though. And then number 3, Gonzaga, takes care of number 6, TCU, 84-81. I actually had TCU in that one, but what are you going to do? So just to let you know, Sweet 16 Here's your games on Thursday. You've got number 7 Michigan State taking on number 3 Kansas State. Number 8 Arkansas taking on number 4 UConn. Number 9 Florida Atlantic taking on number 4 Tennessee, and number 3 Gonzaga taking on number 2 UCLA. Then on Friday, number 3 Xavier taking on number 2 University of Texas, UT baby, the real UT. San Diego taking on Bama as a 5 and a 1 seed. Bama, of course, the 1 seed. Number 5 Miami taking on number 1 seed Houston. And then number 15, Princeton taking on number 6, Creighton. So that's your Sweet 16 matchups. There you go. There's your tournament recap. All right, now let's get to the Baseball World Classic. All right. All right. In the let's see, go back to last week. All right, quarterfinal games. Cuba took care of Australia 4-3. Then Japan took care of Italy 9-3. And then Mexico took care of Puerto Rico 5-4. And then the United States took care of Venezuela 9-7. And then we'll come back to that game. All right, but or what happened in it. Then on Sunday, the U.S. destroyed Cuba 14-2. And then last night, Japan actually came back in the game, walked it off. I was kind of rooting for Mexico, just because I wanted to see a rematch between Mexico and the United States. Plus, it would have been really fun game to watch, especially with it being Mexico, United States. But it's going to be Japan. Japan comes off. They walk it off last night. They win the 6-5. So tonight is going to be the final of the WBC, which is going to be on FS1 tonight, 6 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as far as that goes. All right. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't watched a lot of the World Baseball Classic. March Madness has been going on. All right. There's a lot of shit going on. Okay. I'm going to say this first. I have no problem with the World Baseball Classic. I understand what they're trying to do with the World Baseball Classic. They're trying to do a World Cup of baseball. Okay, and I have no problem with that. Part of the reason the World Baseball Classic came into existence is because the Olympics got rid of baseball as an Olympic sport. Really, they wanted major leaguers to come for the Summer Olympics, but with the Major League season being so long, they're just not going to allow Olympic break. All right, now hockey will do it. All right, hockey for the Winter Games. The hockey hasn't done it. They didn't do it this last time. A lot of it's been COVID related. But usually hockey, when they use professional players, they'll take a break in the season, a 2-week break, and they'll go play in the Olympics, and then they'll resume the season. Now, hockey only plays half the games that Major League Baseball plays. All right, or a little less than half, because hockey season's 82 games, whereas the MLB season's 162. So to take 2 weeks off in the middle of the season for the World Baseball Classic or for the Olympics would be really hard to do. So they got rid of it in the Olympics. Now it did come back, and it's going to go away in France, and then maybe come back for Australia. I don't fucking remember. Or not come back for Australia, come back for the United States, because we get the Olympics in LA. France is next year, 2024, and then it'll be in LA in 2028. All right, and I think baseball might be back for that. But anyway, they're just not going to do it. So they just started doing the World Baseball Classic. Okay, I get it. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to try to grow the game internationally. There are a lot of international players. We do have a lot of Japanese players. We got Yu Darvish. We got Shohei Ohtani. Before that, you had Hideki Nomo. There's a long history of Japanese players coming over and playing in the United States and playing in Major League Baseball. Okay. Also, of course, you've got a lot of Mexican players. You've got a lot of Latin players from Cuba. You've got players from Dominican Republic. All right, there's a lot of players from internationally, but most of them, of course, baseball is only big in really a few places. Okay, baseball is big in Japan because we introduced the Japanese to baseball after World War II. Baseball is big in Japan. Baseball is big in Latin America. All right, and then here in the United States, and that's really it. All right, as far as baseball. Now, Venezuela's, pretty popular. That's South America, but they're probably the only South American team that really has, got Jose Altuve's from Venezuela. A few other players are from Venezuela as well. All right, but they're probably the only South American country. I mean, Colombia, you can maybe get a few players from, but really, it's Latin America. I mean, it's Mexico, it's the Caribbean, it's the Dominican Republic. It's Cuba. They're a big baseball team. So I understand what baseball's trying to do. So like I said, I'm not going to knock the World Baseball Classic. I understand it. I get it. I see what they're trying to do. All right. It has been great. Like I said, these guys usually don't get to play for their country in the Olympics, so to play an international game, I think is great. I mean, and like I said, I watched the United States uh, against who the hell were they playing the other day when they came back and won that game? Wasn't Mexico because Mexico won. Oh, it was Venezuela when they were playing against Venezuela. I mean, the American guys they were getting excited. The Venezuela guys were getting excited. Like the crowd in Miami was fantastic. It was loud. Everybody was getting into it. Uh, the U.S. had a hell of a comeback to win that game in the quarterfinals. I get it. Okay, I get it. I'm pro WBC. They got to move it to the off season. They got to move it to November. Uh, Now, mostly because I'm an Astros fan. Well, we've had two major injuries. First of all, Edwin Diaz, the closer for the New York Mets, who just signed a big contract extension, is one of the best closers, if not the best closer in baseball right now, tore his patella tendon after Puerto Rico won a game, and they were celebrating. Now, it was a freak injury. Okay, it was a freak injury. Uh, and it was probably one of those things where it was getting ready to pop and it just popped. Okay, because patella tendons are really rare in baseball. It's more of a football injury. It's more of a basketball injury. Really rare in baseball. He did it during the celebration. The game was over. They were jumping up and down, and I don't know if he landed on somebody's foot or, like I said, if the tendon was getting ready to pop and just pop. Then that's all it took, which is a possibility. That it was getting ready to tear, and basically it was hanging on by a thread, and then him jumping up and down caused it to pop. Whatever the reason is, he's going to be out for the entire season. And then Freddie Freeman, he strained a hamstring. Which is minor, no big deal there. And then in the game against Venezuela, Jose Altuve was batting. Daniel Bard, who plays for the Colorado Rockies, he was in, and Bard lost all of his control. He couldn't have hit a water if he fell out of a boat. All right, he had no clue where the fucking plate was at. All right, I mean the catcher could have said, "Hey, throw it here. This is called this big round thing on the ground. This is called home plate. You got to throw the ball over. You see, I'm pointing it out to you. It's right here." All right, and Bart still couldn't have found the fucking plate. All right, probably number one, not sure if he should have even been on the fucking team because he's had control issues in the past. Number two, how do you not pull that guy? Because at that point, he had already thrown two wild pitches. He already walked a guy, hadn't recorded an out yet. All right, I don't think they have the three batter rule in the World Baseball Classic. Fucking get his ass out of there. And then he throws a fastball that just gets away from him and had no intention behind it or anything. Just fastball up and in to Altuve. Of course, Altuve's fucking short anyway. And ball runs in. Altuve tried to get out of the way. Ball ends up hitting him in the hand. Looked bad at first because I was like, shit, he just broke his hand or he broke his wrist or something. But he ends up breaking his thumb. It's a fractured his thumb. It's going to require surgery. He's going to be out probably 8 to 10 weeks. So he's probably going to miss at least 2 months of the season. Okay. First of all, for you assholes out there who are like, well, TV's karma for getting hit. It's like, fuck you, number one, for rooting for anybody to get hurt. I don't care what the fuck they did unless they're a fucking pedophile or beat their wife. Then you can root for a guy to get fucking hit. Okay. Other than that, fuck you. Second of all, it ain't karma because they won the fucking World Series this last year. So suck on that. All right. World Series champions. No asterisks on that one. So go fuck yourself on that one too. All right. But we've had two major injuries basically. And now, like I said, and the argument with Altuve is, well, he could have got hit in spring training. Yeah, he could have. Very well could have. That's a valid argument. Problem with that argument is he didn't. He got hit in the World Baseball Classic. Okay? Doesn't get hit in the spring training game. All right? Yes, injuries happen in spring training games. I get that. Guys get hit in spring training games. Guys tear ligaments in spring training games. I get it. All right? This wasn't a spring training game. He doesn't get hurt in spring training. He gets hurt in the World Baseball Classic, and now the Astros are going to be missing him for the first 2 months of the season. Now, granted, he should be back, but not having him in the lineup, how much is that going to hurt the Astros? All right, and what if they don't, what if they could have won a few more games in April? What if we go remains in May? And that's the difference between the 1 seed and the 2 seed, or the 2 seed and the 3 seed, or having to play a fucking wild card game, or shit like that. Was that the fucking difference? Diaz is out for the entire season for the Mets. All right, and I think the quick fix, the easy fix of this, put at the end of the season. I get why they're trying to do it in spring, because you got spring training going on. This is basically spring training for the players, getting them in baseball shape. The problem is these guys can get hurt. Now, granted, you can get hurt during a regular season game. You can get hit. Baseball's had a bunch of weird injuries. All right, Jeff King was fucking riding his motorcycle when he shouldn't have been, and fucking hurt his wrist. Okay, guys tear their or injure their shoulders and stuff like that, and pitchers tear their UCLs and have to have Tommy John surgery and shit like that. I get it, okay? Injuries are a part of the game. But like I said, yes, you're playing for your country. I get it, okay? It is, and it's good baseball. It's been fun. It's been exciting. All right, but when it comes down to it, it's still an exhibition. All right, flat out, it's still an exhibition, okay? World Cup, soccer, shit's on the line, man. Soccer is the biggest sport in the fucking world, and every country wants their country to win the fucking World Cup. All right, guys would give their left testicle to win a World Cup. Guys would give their left arm to win a World Cup. All right, once again, it's not meaningless. It means a lot to the players. The players like it. All right, I'm not saying it's meaningless, but it's still an exhibition. All right, what's to be gained from winning the World Baseball Classic? 4 years from now, when the next one starts, is anybody going to know who won the World Baseball Classic this year? Probably not. Okay, but put it in November. Wait till after the season. Everybody's still going to be in baseball shape. And then at least if somebody is injured, if somebody does get hit by a pitch or something like that, at least they'll be ready for spring training. Now, Diaz still would have been out next season. Like, even if we would have had this thing in November, he still would have been out for next year. All right, Patelton is a big thing. All right, maybe he pops it in the fucking season. Okay, whatever. All right, but if Altuve still gets hit in the hand, he would have been ready for spring training. Wouldn't have missed any time. Okay, just move it to November. Just move it to November. Plus, you're probably going to get, now, internationally speaking, World Baseball Classic, I mean, literally half of Japan was fucking watching the game. It's been great internationally, the ratings. But in the United States, ratings are just, got 1 million people or so. But Friday, NCAA tournament got 9 million. All right? There's other shit going on in March, mostly March Madness. Everybody's focused on the tournament. Nobody gives a shit about the World Baseball Classic. Everybody is focused on that. So not only are injuries going to be, I will say not less likely, but if an injury does occur, you're going to have a little bit more time to recuperate, because if you do get hurt in, say, November, you've got December, you got January, you got February, and then if you end up missing spring training, that's 4 months right there, man. All right, and you're still ready, do a rehab assignment. Maybe you miss a couple weeks of the season, but you're ready to go. All right, and Altuve would have been ready to go had this injury happened in November. So I just say, man, just push it back to November. Let's keep it. Let's do it. I understand what they're trying to do. We're trying to grow the game internationally and things like that. I get it. Once again, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a good thing to have. I see what baseball's trying to do. I'm completely fine with all of it. Just move it to November. That way, once again, if somebody does get hurt, you got more recovery time. I got to sneeze, maybe. No, I'll hold that one in. All right. But the final tonight is USA versus Japan. And so with no tournament going on, we'll see what the ratings and stuff do. But it's going to be on FS1 too. It's not even on Fox. It should be on Fox, but whatever. But as far as that goes, so like I said, don't abolish it. Let's keep it. Let's stay. Just put it in November. All right, and that way, if somebody does get hurt, Like even if a pitcher blows out his, UCL on these Tommy John, I mean, like I said, you're probably still going to miss the next season, but you're still getting those extra months of recovery. You're still getting December, January, February. You're still getting those 3 extra months to recover. And then like I said, even if you got Tommy John, you're probably still missing all the season, but you're going to be ready for spring training the next season instead of coming back in the middle of the season or something like that. So anyway, that's what I propose. Just move it to November. Just move it to November. And then there's less sports going on too. All right, you got NFL going on, but NFL's only on Monday. It's only on Sunday. It's only on Thursday. All right, you can put games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Thursday too, because Thursday night football kind of sucks. But put up games on Friday, put games on Saturday. Now you got to compete with college football on Saturday, but that's it. All right, you're not competing with March Madness, which happened here. So anyway, that's my thoughts. We're out of time. All right. Cheers, everybody. Hope everybody has a good rest of their week, has a good weekend. Enjoy the World Baseball Classic final, and enjoy the rest of the tournament. Enjoy the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 this weekend. We'll talk about it next week on the show. All right. Cheers, everybody. Find me on Twitter. That's JJ Sports Show 63. That's at JJ Sports Show 63. See you next week.